YouTube vinyl community, Paul McCartney fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about Paul McCartney's brand new album, Egypt Station. Hell yeah, Egypt Station. This thing came out September 7th of 2018. It has really been an awesome album. The more I hear this thing, the more I love it. The amount of promotion that Paul has done for this thing has been so fun, and seeing him super involved with a great album this far in his career, it's just icing on the cake over and over again for this guy. So very cool. So the roots of this album, we started hearing about this thing midsummer, I'd say probably early June. Basically when his Instagram page went blank and little bits of these things started popping up on there, and some drawings and some pictures of him in the studio. Leading up to the release of the songs I Don't Know and Come On To Me, I think on his birthday. I think it was on June. It was in the middle of June when they both came out. It may have been on his birthday or maybe like right before that. But basically those two songs came out. And it was really fun to hear those new songs because they sounded really good. Great piano on I Don't Know, and great guitar work on Come On To Me. And super fun, catchy stuff there. And then the promotion really started to pick up. We found out he was going to be on Carpool Karaoke with James Corden, which was great. It's a super successful series. James has had so many cool people on that show. And to finally have Paul on there, I think for him was probably extremely exciting. But Paul was a little hesitant at first, but once he got on there and started driving around with James and showing off Liverpool, and they worked out the details of what they were going to do, he was way more into it and way more excited. And then it's turned out to be probably one of the biggest things on the internet this year alone. Humongously successful, to the point where they actually made an hour-long special on CBS to show off tons of other footage they didn't have time to use for the actual Carpool Karaoke, of them driving around, more stories, more songs. Really fun to watch him do this. From there, some of the secret gigs started popping up. He played EMI, doing a set there for Spotify, and then doing the Cavern Club, and then eventually he went on the Jimmy Fallon show and did a couple of bits with him there. And then that night or the day after, ended up playing Grand Central Station for a secret show. And he's been all over the place. The promotion for this thing has been so many ads, online, commercials. It's been everywhere. It's been in your face, which I think is really cool. Being a Paul McCartney fan and seeing this stuff everywhere is super fun. And it's been totally worth it. Leading up to this album coming out, shifting 153,000 units in its first opening week, which these days is a heck of a lot of units. And of those, 147,000 were actual physical things. Mind-blowing. In an age where everything's on Spotify, everything's digital, selling 50,000, maybe 100,000 copies of something that's physical is extremely rare. So to know that most fans went out and bought this, or went out and bought the CD, which I've got here. This is the Target version, with the bonus tracks on it. Very cool that people went out and bought this thing. Very fun. So I'm so excited about this album. The more I listen to it, the more I love it. I had a couple of thoughts at the beginning where when I first heard it, I was kind of on it. And I was also kind of that way about For You. But then everything has changed. The more I hear it, the more I get it, the more I understand it, the more I love it. So that said, you get on the train to opening station here. You kind of, sent off from Egypt Station, and you go on this journey of meeting people and going to different places, and coming back at the end. I think is a really cool tying up of loose ends to make it feel like a cohesive sort of thing, and it's fun. I Don't Know is a great track. It's got a bit of a lost piano, meandering, wandering piano feel in the intro, which leads to a much more uplifting melody. It's got a little bit more of a optimistic look, but still cautious feel. The bass line on this song is one of the coolest bass lines he's done in a long time. Love it. And Paul sings about going through some of the hardships in life. Life isn't always easy. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. You go through hard days, and I guess sometimes Paul McCartney goes through hard days too. I love the little bit of cracks in his voice. I think the age in his voice works really well for a track like this. The bridge to me is classic Wings. It sounds like something out of the mid-70s Wings era. Catchy, melancholy, classic. Just feels like a classic song to me. which leads you to Come On To Me, which is just such a fun, upbeat track. I love the real sprightly guitars in this thing, real crunchy guitars. Paul's rocking away with his voice. The vocal hooks throughout this thing are insanely memorable and catchy. They stick in your head. It's bouncy. It's rollicking. And the vocal, lyrical play definitely sticks with you too. And it's just an upbeat, ready for the arena kind of song or a club. But I love the real heavy drum groove. I love the little do thing in the background. That's super cool. Thumping bass line throughout this thing, so very, very good track, and it's done really well for himself. I think it's his first top 10 song on the charts since like The World Tonight or something, like 20 years ago, so very awesome. Happy With You, I love this song. It's a great little track. You know, it's homely, it's safe, it's warm. It's got a good time feel, campfire kind of feel. There's Paul on the acoustic with a nice little song about you know, moments in life and how you used to do this, but now you don't. Things are cool. You don't need these things anymore because you're happy with this one person. That's where you get your feel from, your fill from. Just a beautiful little song. I think something like this constantly sound like Paul is re-energized all the time and wants to sound fresh all the time. It's a very good little track. Very happy little song. Who Cares is a cool song. Starts off track 1, side B. Some feedback introduces this thing. And it's definitely like, it's got a Diamond Dogs riff to it, if you ask me, which I like a lot. And a little bit of organ here and there itself. But Paul's voice on this is really cool. Echo. And it's just an upbeat rocker. Just a lot of fun. They've been playing it live, which I think works out very well. Again, crunchy guitars, heavy drums. Just a fun rock and roll song. For You, this has been a song for a lot of people. It's kind of split people down the middle because of the lyrical play with I just want it for you. I just want to do these things for you. It's not I just want to F you. But that's what you hear, just like in Day Tripper or in Girl, you know, a lot of things in the background. It's vocal bits that make you hear things that aren't there, and the way it's sung also has that feel to it as well, which I don't know. I mean, it's kind of funny, really, but that people would instantly go to that. But the lyrics are, I just want it for you. Because we don't say, I just want this for you. Like, I just want it for you, you know, for you. But the really bright, you know, piano keys on this thing, the harpsichord on it is great. And the chorus stays in your head. It's got that ready for radio feel. It's the one Paul wrote with Ryan Tedder, producer Ryan Tedder. It's a great track. It's super fun. It's upbeat. It's youthful, but it's also got that Paul McCartney feel. So, you know, here he is with a song that definitely sounds like it could be on the radio, and you'd hope that it would be, but Paul's in that weird realm where he's a guy from the older generation, but still making new music, which doesn't happen a lot. And so finding your footing on rock radio is almost impossible these days. So viral marketing is what happens, and that's how you spread your message around. So he's done it really well with this album. But I love the cheery bridge on this thing. The strings work really well with it. And the instrumentation is just a big, fun track. Confidant is a really cool song. This is up next. This is like his version of Shiloh by Neil Diamond. For me, it feels like a song about an imaginary friend. Someone you can tell all your secrets to, hang out with, be safe with, be yourself with, and then you grow up and you leave that relationship behind and you move on. That's what this song feels like. Mostly acoustic, and his acoustic tracks on this album really blow my mind. I love his playing. I love the vibe he goes for. It kind of reminds me of Early Days from the new album, but great song nonetheless. People Want Peace is the next track on here, and this is a song you can see going on for an hour. Just people in a stadium chanting, "People want peace!" Like, you know, it's made for that. And I think the fact that it's only just about 3 minutes long lends itself to the fact that it can grow from there. I think it's good that it's short. I think if the album version was long, it wouldn't be as effective. But I think because it's on the shorter side, very effective. But yeah, that big, whole, humongous chorus thing, it's ready for an audience. And I think that works really well. Hand in Hand is a nice, soft, warm, beautiful track. Piano, acoustic guitars, that pan flute solo is really cool. But I can see this song fitting really nicely on a hard day's night on that album. I get that vibe here. It could be like up there with "And I Love Her" or something like that. Paul's voice is really sweet on this one, and I think the delicate tones in his voice lend a different kind of dynamic and shift on the album itself. After coming after the big chanting "People Want Peace," I think scaling it back to "Hand in Hand" is very nice. Record 2, side C, you start off with a track called "Dominoes," which is easily one of my favorites on this album. I love the feel of this thing. I love the riff that happens throughout this track. It almost sounds a bit like "Isn't It a Pity," which I think is kind of cool. But Paul's voice in this one is great. Again, I think the background vocals are fantastic. There's a lot of Beatles-esque elements to this track. And ends with a bunch of backwards guitars. So what's not to love with that? Back in Brazil, this song is really cool. It's a story about a girl who meets a guy and they have a hard time trying to get together, trying to figure out their life, and then eventually they do. Ichiban. So, cool track. A video just came out. Well, at the time you're watching this, there's probably been several more videos, but it just came out a couple of days ago from about the time I'm making this video. About a girl meeting a guy going to a Paul McCartney concert. So, very cool. I like the rhythms in this track a lot. It's definitely got that Brazilian feel. It's got that Latin feel, which is really cool. And I think Paul probably wrote it because he's played Brazil a bunch of times. Probably loves the area. Cool idea for a story, and the wording is nice. Back in Brazil just looks cool. Good track. Do It Now. This is, for me, a classic Paul McCartney song. One of the best on the album. I love the really earnest piano playing. The harpsichord on here is great. The harmonies on this track are fantastic. And I think Paul's delivery and his vocal is just really fresh. It just sounds new. You know, but it's also got a ton of his influences and his sounds that he's had over the years, all kind of condensed into one track. I think it's a really powerful song, and I think it's easily one of the best songs on the album. Caesar Rock, which word just came out as of the time of making this video, that it's going to be the next single, which is really cool. This song is so weird. It's definitely way more on the experimental side. I love the weird funky guitars, a real heavy drum beat. The group vocals throughout this track I think are great. And the lyrics on it are awesome. It's just about how this girl blows his mind. Basically, it's probably written about Nancy. But, you know, she's got matching teeth. It's a fantastic line. You can tell they were having a laugh with that one. It's just a good line. But very cool song. Real heavy, crunchy song. Just great track, man. Awesome stuff. And then you get Despite Repeated Warnings, which is definitely up there in terms of its, you know, condensedness of multiple songs packed into one. It's up there like Live and Let Die, Side 2 of Abbey Road. He hasn't done a song like this in a long time, and I think that's good because when you do too many songs like that, the feeling and the energy and the spirit and the novelty of it wears thin. But the fact that he hasn't done a lot of tracks like this makes it that much more effective. But the big expressive horn sections on here, the lyrical content is very interesting. It's a really commanding song, and I think an amazing piece of work for someone who's done this so many times to still make a song that sounds energetic and will grab your attention and can shift numerous times and still be super effective the whole way through and not feel like it was, you know, lazily put together. Just, oh, I got a couple of tracks, let's throw them together. Like, it feels like it was done with an intent, like there was a purpose, there was an image, there was a picture he wanted to paint, and he did it really well. Super fun, super effective, interesting song. But yeah, it's totally up there with Live and Let Die, for sure. And then you close the station with Station 2, which is interesting how they call it opening station on side 1 and then Station 2 on the other side should be closing station. But you get that, again, just engine noise and stuff. And then Hunt You Down, Naked, and C-Link are the last songs on this album, on the vinyl anyway. Love these songs. These are super catchy moments for Paul that just come across so effortlessly. It's amazing how he can just make these tracks sound, oh, you want a hook? Well, here's 14 of them in one song. Here you go. But Hunt You Down's fun. Naked, I think, is super cool. I love the feeling of that one. The vocal melody is great. And again, super catchy, memorable stuff. And the female vocals on it are awesome. And the little bit of rocking jam at the end with C-Link is very fun to listen to as well. But overall, this really is one of the best albums he's made in a long time. Again, that's not hard to say. It's Paul McCartney, so he's going to make good albums. But this happens to be the Barnes & Noble red vinyl edition. Out of the 17,000 versions of this album that came out, this is the red one. So there's that. I was gonna do the green Spotify one, but this was in the store. And this was easier. I could just buy it right there. So, very cool to get this. I had the CD from Target, which also has the tracks on there called Get Started and forget the last one there, Nothing for Free. Those tracks were cool too. Get Started is a fantastic song. Super high energy rock and roll. Paul's just screaming his ass off on that one. And I really enjoyed Nothing for Free also. But cool packaging with this one. You get this like green band on it and it opens up like an accordion. And I'm also waiting on the cassettes to come in. So by the time this video comes out, I will have had the cassettes at that point. But yeah, I can't say enough about this album. Like I said, when I first heard it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty decent, this is pretty good. But the more I play it and the more I listen to it and get absorbed into the atmosphere of it, the more I fall in love with it over and over again. It's a lot of people are saying it's the best album he's done in 20 years. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, Chaos and Creation was easily the best thing he's ever done in a long time. And the new album has a lot of great moments on it too, for sure. But this album just feels like he's re-energized, refocused. And at first I was like, man, there's too many songs on here. And then I was like, no, there's not. This is how all of his albums are. I think it was a lot to take in at first. But yeah, after so many listens of this thing so far, and I'm going to continue to love this and listen to it for a long time to come, because it makes me excited to hear it, and it makes me excited that he's got a #1 album on the charts, his first #1 debut ever, and his first #1 album since Tug of War in 1982. So congrats, Paul. You've certainly earned it. Yeah, I'm giving this thing probably an 8 or 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic album. One of the best solo albums he's made in a very, very long time. A lot of work and love went into this thing, and it shows, and I think the promotion he's doing for it also shows. He's just going out on tour again. He's playing a bunch of these songs, adding a couple of random Beatles ones, like From Me to You, which hasn't been played in like 50 years. So very exciting time to be a Paul McCartney fan, and very exciting time to enjoy some brand new music from him. So I love this album. I think it's great. I'm going with an 8 out of 10 on this thing, 8 or 9 out of 10. And that's it. Really excited to hear what you guys have to say about it. Love this thing. Love it a lot. That's it. My name is Paul McCartney. My name is Giggens. This has been Egypt Station with Paul McCartney. 8 or 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.